The earth listens, not in whispers, not in echoes we always perceive, but in ways far deeper than the human mind can measure. Every step we take upon its soil, every word we speak over it, carries weight. The ground beneath our feet is alive with unseen currents, ancient and potent, waiting for recognition, waiting for the human voice to acknowledge its place. In the beginning, the scriptures declared dominion to humanity over all creation. That dominion is not mere ownership, but a sacred partnership. To speak to the earth is to reclaim what has always been ours to steward, to align with the rhythm God has set from the foundations of the world. The first challenge is to understand the soil, the rock, the waters, the winds. These are not inert, they respond. Not with the logic of man, but with the obedience of creation to its maker. When we call upon the earth, when we bless it with intention, we invoke laws older than empires, older than civilizations. The word carries power. As it is written, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Speaking over the land is more than metaphor. It is literal in the spiritual realm, a dialogue written in forces unseen. The next truth is awareness. Most walk upon the earth unaware of its covenantal memory. The earth bears witness to every action, every curse, every blessing pronounced over it. To neglect its voice is to live blind, to ignore the network of life that God has woven so intricately. When corruption seeps into the soil, when fear or malice is sown upon the land, the effects are tangible. Crops fail, waters stagnate, the air grows heavy. Conversely, when the earth is approached with reverence, when prayers of restoration and stewardship are spoken with faith, life flourishes in ways that surpass human understanding. The very trees, the rivers, the soil itself respond to alignment with divine order. To speak to the earth is to reclaim dominion. Dominion is not domination, it is authority under God. The ground is fertile not only with seed, but with spirit. There is a rhythm to creation, a pulse that responds to faith-infused words. Like the prophet of old who commanded rivers and seas, the human voice aligned with righteousness can bring restoration. The tongue becomes a tool, a plough, a harbinger of growth. Words of faith can release healing into parched lands, dissolve the remnants of spiritual oppression, and restore balance where chaos has reigned. The method is deliberate. Begin with recognition. Kneel, place hands upon the soil, breathe in the sacred air, acknowledge the Creator who has set the foundations. Speak truth over the land, blessings of fertility, of health, of life. Name what is hidden. May this ground yield life. May it release what is bound. May it reflect the goodness of the Maker. Every utterance carries a seed, every sentence an intention. And like seed in good soil, the spoken word grows, unseen at first, but inevitable in its manifestation. Yet there is more. The earth has covenants written into its fabric. Some are ancient, forged in cycles of life and death. Others are residual, born from human activity, both righteous and corrupt. Speaking to the land is to acknowledge these covenants, to discern which must be honored, which must be released. In this act, one becomes both student and steward. Prayer becomes the language of engagement. Faith becomes the bridge between what is visible and what is eternal. The earth does not act randomly. It responds to alignment with God's will and to the clarity of human intention. Watercourses, stones, forests, winds, each has a voice, each carries a memory. The rivers remember the footprints of generations. The soil bears the residue of words spoken aloud in hope or in malice. Mountains retain the echoes of reverence and rebellion. To speak over the earth is to enter into dialogue with this living memory. Command restoration, call forth abundance, release healing. And as one speaks, observe. The shifts may be subtle, a seedling emerging where none had taken root, rain falling at the appointed time, winds carrying new scents. The earth responds to those who act in accordance with divine authority. Dominion requires consistency. Like the seasons, speaking to the earth is a rhythm, a practice. It is not a one-time ritual, but a lifestyle of awareness and intention. Blessings are repeated, faith is strengthened, and the earth begins to yield according to the law set at creation. In this practice, humanity remembers its place, not above the Creator, but as his appointed caretaker. There is accountability, there is reverence. The scriptures remind us that the righteous shall inherit the land, and the unrighteous shall falter upon it. In speaking to the earth, one participates in this eternal principle. Curses, negligence, and neglect weigh upon the soil. Every unhealed wound, every act of exploitation, every spoken word against creation creates spiritual inertia. Speaking to the earth is also a work of repair. It is restoration of balance, a mending of what has been broken. Begin with acknowledgement, confession of past harm, release of resentment, prayer for cleansing. Then speak life. Let this land prosper, let it bear fruit. Let the waters flow pure and the soil bring forth abundance. These words, grounded in faith, carry power beyond human measurement. There is a subtlety in listening. The earth communicates through signs, through growth, through patterns in wind and rain, in the hum of insects and the whisper of leaves. These are not mere coincidences, but responses to the spoken word and to the alignment of intention with divine law. Observing, discerning, and adjusting speech and action accordingly is part of the dialogue. The earth is patient, but it is attentive. Like a mirror reflecting both blessing and neglect, it responds in proportion to the authority exercised in faith. Practical action complements speech. Planting, tending, conserving, and honoring the cycles of life are all part of the conversation. Words alone are not enough. They must be accompanied by obedience to natural and divine law. Hands in the soil, water on the roots, care for the vulnerable in the ecosystem, all amplify the spoken words. Dominion is not abstract. It manifests in tangible restoration. Like the prophets who healed the land through word and act, human engagement with the earth becomes sacred choreography with creation itself. At the heart of this practice lies humility. Speaking to the earth is an acknowledgement that all power belongs to God, and that humans are instruments of his will. Words of command are not for personal gain or vanity, but for stewardship, for justice, for restoration. Every act of intention, every blessing spoken, every ritual performed with integrity contributes to the harmony of creation. The earth responds, not to ego, but to faith aligned with righteousness. The culmination is transformation. A barren field may yield fruit, polluted streams may run clean, winds may shift in favor of restoration. This is not magic, but alignment with divine principle. Faith activates the law, words become seeds, action fertilizes growth. In speaking to the earth, humanity reclaims its role as co-steward of creation, fulfilling the original mandate written at the dawn of time. This dialogue is ongoing. Each season, each day, each moment carries an opportunity to speak, to listen, to act. The earth is alive, aware, and responsive. To those who approach with reverence, intention, and faith, it yields understanding and abundance. The words we speak, the prayers we offer, the hands we place upon the soil, they echo in eternity, shaping life, shaping destiny, shaping the unseen currents that bind all things. In the final measure, the earth waits not in silence, but in expectation. For every word of truth spoken, every act of stewardship, every covenant honored, it responds. Humanity was created to speak, to bless, to restore, to rule under God's guidance. The ground beneath our feet is listening. It is time to speak. The dialogue with the earth is never passive. Every step, every word, every gesture carries meaning. It is a rhythm of attention, a discipline of recognition. To engage with the soil is to acknowledge its capacity for life and for memory. It remembers the kindness of care and the weight of neglect. Like a faithful witness, it reflects the balance of human intent, echoing the justice and mercy of the Creator. What is sown in thought, word, and deed manifests in the rhythm of growth. Faith becomes the lens through which the earth is interpreted. It is the invisible hand guiding seeds, streams, and winds toward purpose. As it is written, commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established. Words spoken in alignment with divine order act as channels, releasing energy into the land that cannot be measured by ordinary tools. A blessing upon the soil is a declaration of life. A declaration of faith reverberates in the unseen, awakening dormant potential. Attention to detail matters. The earth responds to clarity. Vague intentions produce diluted results. Precision, focus, and purity of heart amplify the spoken word. When the hands touch the soil with reverence, when the voice speaks clearly over the land, a sacred partnership is forged. Each action becomes a thread in the tapestry of restoration, weaving together prayer, practice, and obedience into a coherent force that breathes life into the ground. Restoration is both spiritual and physical. Where the land is wounded, where decay or neglect has taken root, restoration requires deliberate engagement. Remove what chokes life, plant what sustains it. Speak over every area with authority anchored in faith. The earth does not distinguish between human perception and divine order. It responds to alignment. Just as the Creator commanded the seas to obey and the winds to shift, the land, too, answers when intention is consistent and rooted in truth. There is a rhythm to listening. Observe patterns in the wind, the movement of water, the growth of plants, the shifts in temperature and soil. These are not mere coincidences. They are answers to spoken words, signs of alignment, or indicators of resistance. Like prophetic insight, the earth communicates subtly, offering guidance to those willing to discern its language. Listening is as vital as speaking. Without it, words risk passing into empty ritual, disconnected from the forces they intend to influence. Covenants etched into creation are delicate yet enduring. Some are blessings that persist through generations. Others are remnants of neglect or harmful intent. To work with the earth is to honor the good, to recognize and release the harmful, and to speak life into every corner of existence. Confession, prayer, and intention cleanse the soil spiritually, preparing it to respond to blessings. The process is meticulous, requiring patience, persistence, and unwavering faith in divine authority. Every act of engagement carries consequence. Words, intentions, and actions form a spiritual architecture that cannot be undone lightly. Just as faith can heal, so neglect can deepen harm. To approach the earth is to enter into responsibility. The scriptures remind us that the righteous inherit the land. Stewardship is sacred, not optional. Those who speak without knowledge risk discord. Those who act with faith and wisdom cultivate harmony. Each movement, each utterance, becomes a building block in the spiritual landscape of creation. Practicality reinforces spirituality. Planting trees, tending crops, restoring waterways, and caring for ecosystems amplify the spoken word. Action and intention are inseparable. The earth does not act in isolation from human hands. Blessings spoken over neglected land become tangible through the labor of care. The act of tending, paired with prayerful speech, creates a feedback loop in which faith manifests visibly. Growth is both evidence and reward, a tangible reflection of unseen alignment. Time is an ally. Restoration, blessing, and transformation do not occur instantaneously. Like the seasons, spiritual engagement unfolds according to divine timing. Patience is essential. The earth responds in increments, revealing progress gradually. Each sprout, each bloom, each sign of life is confirmation that the dialogue is working, that faith, intention, and action are converging to produce results beyond the immediate eye. Obedience undergirds authority. To speak to the earth effectively, one must live in alignment with the Creator's principles. Justice, mercy, humility, and faith guide the voice that commands life. Words spoken in pride or selfish ambition bear little weight. The earth honors those who act with integrity, those who recognize their role as caretakers rather than owners. Dominion is stewardship, it is service, it is alignment with the order written at creation. Engagement is continuous. Seasons change, conditions shift, and the earth adapts. Regular dialogue is required. Speak often, act faithfully, observe carefully, and adjust when needed. Each interaction strengthens the bond, deepens understanding, and enhances responsiveness. The land is patient, but it is attentive. Faith, repeated and sustained, amplifies impact. What is sown in persistence bears fruit far beyond what is first apparent. The human role is profound. Words become instruments, gestures become sacred acts, intention becomes law in the unseen realms. Speaking to the earth is not an exercise in dominion alone, but a spiritual rehearsal in divine principles. Like the prophets who healed land and people, humans can act as conduits of restoration. Every blessing, every careful act, every prayer infused with faith participates in creation's renewal. Transformation is holistic. As the land flourishes, so do communities. Clean water, fertile soil, abundant crops, and healthy ecosystems mirror restoration in the human spirit. What is spoken over the earth resonates in human life, shaping relationships, well-being, and destiny. The interplay of faith, intention, and action extends beyond the soil. It touches hearts, minds, and the very future of those who dwell upon the land. In every moment, the opportunity to speak and listen exists. The earth is not a silent canvas. It is a responsive, living entity attuned to human intention, aligned with divine law. Engage with it deliberately. Speak with authority grounded in righteousness. Observe with attention, act with care, and remain faithful in both patience and persistence. The results are cumulative, enduring, and profound. The dialogue continues. Every spoken blessing, every prayerful act, every labor of stewardship echoes in eternity. The land responds to faith, obedience, and clarity. It mirrors the principles set forth at creation. Those who embrace this sacred conversation step into their true role as co-stewards of the world, aligned with divine authority, capable of restoring what has been broken, nurturing what is life-giving, and releasing potential long dormant. Part 2 ends here. Continuing the educational and spiritual flow of the documentary, focusing on practical engagement, observation, and alignment with God's law. Beneath every surface, the earth holds memory, ancient, intricate, and sacred. It remembers the footsteps of generations, the words spoken over it in hope or in despair. Every curse, every blessing, every careless act, every act of reverence lingers in its depths. To engage the earth spiritually is to acknowledge these layers, to discern what must be healed, what must be released, and what must be preserved. Restoration is not only a matter of hands in the soil, but of spirit over substance, intention over inertia. The power of spoken words deepens when combined with discernment. Like the prophets of old, one must learn to recognize the hidden spiritual structures that govern life and land. Some areas bear the weight of neglect, greed, or oppression, manifesting as decay, infertility, or imbalance. To address these, one must speak deliberately, with faith as a shield and authority as a guide. The Lord shall command his loving kindness in the day of battle, the scriptures remind us. So too does the earth respond when righteousness confronts disorder, when faith speaks over what has been bound. Releasing what is bound requires intentionality. Prayer, confession, and precise proclamation are tools of spiritual restoration. Identify what restricts life, growth, and abundance, then speak freedom into every corner. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty, and liberty extends to creation itself. The soil, the waters, the trees, even the winds, yield to the alignment of human intention with divine law. Every curse lifted, every negative influence neutralized, clears space for life to thrive. Healing the land demands both patience and persistence. As one speaks and acts in faith, shifts may not be immediate. Yet they are inevitable, for divine law operates steadily, unyielding in principle. Observe the subtle signs. New sprouts in barren fields, fresh streams where water had slowed, wind patterns that carry a different rhythm. These are confirmations that the dialogue is effective, that the words spoken have taken root in the unseen realm. Covenants woven into creation are intricate, delicate, and enduring. Some have been honored through generations, others are residual, born of neglect, exploitation, or misalignment with divine order. Understanding these covenants is essential. Engage in discernment, speak restoration, release what is harmful, and honor what is good. Through prayer, action, and focused attention, one realigns the land with the principles laid at creation. Every act becomes a bridge between the seen and the unseen, a covenant renewed through obedience and faith. Faith is the conduit of transformation. The human voice, guided by righteousness, releases energy that animates life in the soil, water, and air. Words act as seeds, taking root in the spiritual realm before manifesting physically. A prayer spoken over a barren field may not be visible at once, but like the mustard seed, its effect grows imperceptibly, unstoppable once aligned with divine law. This is the principle of spiritual causality. What is spoken in truth and obedience shapes reality in the ways God intended. Practical engagement reinforces spiritual intent. Planting, watering, nurturing, and preserving are physical acts that amplify the spoken word. The soil becomes receptive, the water fertile, the trees robust, and the winds gentle, as human action harmonizes with divine rhythm. Authority over the land is exercised not through dominance, but through alignment, faithful action that mirrors divine principles. Stewardship is active, not passive, and its effects are visible, measurable, and enduring. Every interaction with the earth carries moral weight. Neglect or abuse manifests consequences. Blessing and care yield abundance. The scriptures teach that the earth mourns corruption and rejoices in justice. To speak to it responsibly is to embody obedience, to exercise discernment, and to act with integrity. Words without action are hollow. Intentions without faith are powerless. The power resides in the convergence of intention, speech, and obedient practice. Observing the responses of creation is critical. Signs may be subtle, a seedling emerging in an unexpected place, a stream flowing differently, a wind shifting with new direction. These are the language of the land, confirming alignment, signaling adjustment, and guiding further engagement. Listening as attentively as speaking ensures the dialogue is continuous, coherent, and effective. Awareness strengthens authority, faith fuels persistence, and integrity secures results. Advanced practice involves harmonizing with natural cycles. Seasons dictate timing, rainfall guides planting, sun and soil influence growth. Spiritual engagement must flow with these rhythms. Speaking at the right moment, acting at the appropriate season aligns human intention with divine design. Disregard timing, and even faith-filled words may falter. Respect it, and the earth responds like a willing partner. Dominion, exercised with wisdom, is most potent when synchronized with the patterns of creation. The process is transformative for both land and life. Healing the earth restores ecosystems, revitalizes water sources, and replenishes soil. These tangible outcomes reflect a deeper spiritual restoration, a renewed covenant between humanity and creation. The land mirrors the integrity, patience, and faith of those who tend it. Blessings spoken and acted upon echo through time, influencing generations yet unborn, fulfilling the mandate of stewardship laid at the beginning. Authority over the earth is exercised most powerfully in humility. Pride, selfish ambition, or arrogance diminish influence. Faith, obedience, and reverence magnify it. Words spoken in righteousness, backed by consistent action, reverberate through both seen and unseen realms. Like the prophets who healed and restored, humans serve as conduits of divine intention, instruments of restoration, and vessels through which creation experiences life in abundance. Transformation is holistic. Prosperity in the soil brings sustenance to communities. Clean water nourishes health. Fertile fields sustain life. Healing the land shapes destiny, both human and ecological. Spiritual engagement expressed in word and action creates tangible, enduring impact. The interplay of faith, intention, and obedience is the blueprint of restoration, the architecture through which creation fulfills its potential. The earth waits for attention, for recognition, for faith aligned with principle. Speaking to it is both privilege and responsibility. Every utterance, every act, every prayer matters. The land responds to authority exercised in righteousness, to words spoken with clarity and intent, and to stewardship expressed through action. Those who embrace this sacred dialogue step into their true role as co-stewards of creation, wielding influence that heals, restores, and transforms. In every seed planted, every prayer offered, every gesture of care, there is evidence of connection. The land mirrors human devotion, obedience, and faith. Dominion is exercised not in force but in alignment, in partnership, in reverence. The earth responds, life flourishes, and the covenant set at creation is renewed with every intentional act of stewardship. The culmination of this sacred dialogue is transformation, visible, felt, and enduring. The land that once seemed barren begins to yield. Streams once stagnant flow with renewed life. Trees stand taller, leaves glisten, and soil breathes fertility. These signs are not coincidence. They are the response of creation to words spoken in faith, actions taken with care, and intentions aligned with divine principle. The earth mirrors what is sown in the spirit, as surely as seed produces grain. Restoration extends beyond soil and stone. Communities flourish where the land is healed. Water nourishes, crops sustain, and ecosystems thrive. Life itself is renewed, reflecting the obedience, patience, and faith of those who stewarded it. The scriptures declare, "The earth shall yield her increase. God, even our own God, shall bless us." When humans engage in partnership with creation under divine guidance, abundance follows. What is spoken over the land returns tenfold, manifesting in health, provision, and flourishing life. Every word spoken carries eternal significance. Like the prophets who commanded seas and winds, human speech, rooted in righteousness, sets unseen forces into motion. Words bless, release, restore, and build. They are the instruments of renewal, the catalysts of growth, and the bridge between the seen and the unseen. To speak to the earth is to exercise authority bestowed at creation, to honor the covenant written in the foundations of the world, and to participate in life that transcends human understanding. The dialogue is continuous. Every season brings new opportunities to engage, to bless, to restore. The earth is never silent. It awaits attention, care, and faithful speech. To neglect this dialogue is to overlook both responsibility and privilege. To embrace it is to enter into co-creation, partnering with the Maker in the renewal of life. Each act of stewardship, each spoken blessing, each intentional movement becomes part of a tapestry that spans generations, shaping destiny and reflecting divine order. Humility remains the cornerstone of authority. True dominion is exercised not in pride, but in reverence. Obedience amplifies voice. Faith directs action. Integrity strengthens impact. The earth honors alignment with righteousness, responding to the steady, consistent, and faithful voice of those who walk in covenant with creation and Creator. Authority exercised in humility transforms the land, renews communities, and leaves a legacy of abundance and life. The power of intention cannot be overstated. Every careful act of planting, tending, blessing, and restoration is a declaration of faith, a testament to human responsibility, and a reflection of divine will. Actions harmonized with speech and spiritual principle create a rhythm that resonates through soil, water, air, and life itself. The earth responds, patiently and faithfully, echoing the order established at the dawn of creation. Transformation is holistic. The renewal of the land mirrors the renewal of the human spirit. As the soil is healed, so are hearts strengthened. As water flows clear, so do lives gain clarity. As forests rise, so does hope. Speaking to the earth is not a simple ritual. It is an immersive practice of faith, action, and stewardship. Every word, every gesture, every intention is woven into a covenant of life that sustains creation and honors the Creator. Legacy flows naturally from this engagement. Land that has been restored, blessed, and honored yields fruit not only for today but for generations to come. Communities prosper, ecosystems stabilize, and life thrives in a pattern consistent with divine design. The dialogue between humanity and the earth becomes a living testimony of faith in action, demonstrating that obedience, reverence, and alignment with God's order produce enduring fruit. In the stillness, one senses the response. The breeze, the soil, the flowing waters, they speak a quiet affirmation of partnership. The earth is alive, aware, and responsive. It reflects the care given, the words spoken, and the faith exercised. Like the echo of divine law in creation, its response is steady, true, and transformative. To engage fully is to recognize this intelligence, to act with purpose, and to speak with authority grounded in righteousness. The final reflection is profound. The earth listens, it responds, and it transforms in harmony with faith-filled human action. Speaking to it is not symbolic alone. It is an act of stewardship, obedience, and participation in God's plan. Words, actions, and intention converge to renew life, restore balance, and release potential long dormant. This is dominion exercised with wisdom, care, and reverence, a covenant renewed with every thoughtful, faithful act. As the sun rises over fertile fields, as streams flow freely, and as winds carry the song of life, the message is clear.